We open on a blonde girl waking up from a blackout with a gag in her mouth. She looks around and realizes 11 other people are rocking the same look. It's like a very budget, very non-consensual fashion week. In the center of the group sits a massive wooden crate. Naturally, one guy grabs a crowbar and pries it open, probably expecting a prize or at least some answers. Instead, a pig trots out. The guy lets out a massive sigh of relief because apparently, in his mind, random pig equals everything is fine. He reaches back into the box and pulls out enough weapons and ammo to start a small revolution. Everyone rushes forward to gear up like it's a Black Friday sale at a gun range. Our blonde protagonist stays back because she clearly skipped the How to Be an Action Star seminar and has no clue how to use a gun. By pure luck, and I mean the plot needs her to live luck, she finds a key for the gags on the ground. She unlocks a guy nearby, and soon everyone is helping each other out. Finally free, the guy with the rifle starts feeling himself. He turns to the girl and says, "Follow me. I'll protect you." It's a classic hero moment, until a bullet blows the girl's head off a millisecond later. Talk about a money-back guarantee on that protection. The guy dives behind the crate, and then some Rambo wannabe charges out with 2 AR-15s. He's firing wildly, but his aim is so trash he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if he was standing inside the barn. A sniper on the hill gets bored of the theatrics and turns him into Swiss cheese. As the survivors drop like flies, one girl finally snaps. She screams and bolts for the woods, which is the universal signal for "I would like to die now, please." The second she hits the trees, she steps into a trap. A nice guy pulls her out and helps her run, but after 2 steps, he hears a loud click under his foot. The look on his face says it all. He knows he's about to become confetti. Boom. The landmine does its job. The girl, however, is the luckiest person on the planet. Her upper body lands perfectly back inside the original trap hole. Another guy passes by and tries to help her up, but she rewards his kindness by snatching his pistol and ending herself. The guy, understandably horrified, sprints to the edge of the woods where a barbed wire fence blocks his path. By now, we're down to 4 survivors. They drape their jackets over the wire to climb over, standard stuff, but the guy in the hat is a second too slow. An arrow pierces his chest. Knowing he's toast, he tries to charge back at an enemy he can't even see. He takes 2 more arrows and collapses. The killer tosses a grenade at him, then waits 10 seconds before realizing they forgot to pull the pin. It's nice to know the villains are just as incompetent as the victims. They throw a second one to finish the job. The other 3 sprint down the road and find a gas station. They burst inside, scaring an elderly couple who immediately offer up the cash in the register. Seeing the harmless old folks, the survivors relax. This is their first mistake. One guy calls 911 and the dispatcher promises backup is on the way. Meanwhile, the other 2 start snacking on store food. Pro tip: if you're being hunted by elites, maybe don't eat the unsealed beef jerky. Their stomachs start cramping, and they collapse in agony. The old couple, suddenly looking much less grandma and grandpa, put on gas masks and toss a gas grenade. The man tries to fire back, but the shopkeeper is way faster and ends him. These seniors clean up the bodies, like they're prepping for a Sunday brunch. They scrub the place down, vent the gas, and call their boss to report 3 more kills. The boss warns them there's 1 more survivor coming, Crystal. Crystal walks in looking actually competent, which is a refreshing change of pace. She asks for cigarettes and pays with $20 from her boot. She asks what state they're in, and they say Arkansas. As the owner reaches for a hidden gun, Crystal moves first and ends them both. Why? Because Crystal is a chain smoker who knows the price of cigarettes in Arkansas down to the cent. The old couple gave her the wrong change. Imagine being a professional assassin and getting outplayed by a sales tax calculation. Crystal finds a car rigged with a bomb and decides she's done running. She hides in the bushes. A drone shows up to check the station, but a guy named Gary steps out of the shadows and shoots it down. He stomps it into scrap metal, Crystal reveals herself, and they decide to team up. They hike the train tracks and hop into a boxcar filled with refugees. Gary is immediately suspicious. He thinks the odds of finding a refugee train in the middle of a death game are 0. Just as he's about to pull the trigger on them, the train stops and armed soldiers storm in. Gary tries to explain the situation, but the soldiers don't speak English. One of the refugees drops the act and tells Gary to shut up or he'll shove a grenade down his pants. Gary, who clearly has 0 chill, tackles the guy and stuffs a live grenade into the guy's pants instead. Boom. The soldiers pin Gary down, but they take Crystal to an office to grill her. It turns out she was shipped to Croatia overnight. This isn't just a hunt, it's a bored rich people vacation. The military calls the US Embassy, and a guy named Oliver shows up to rescue Crystal and another survivor, Dawn. But Crystal is still sharp. She catches Oliver in a lie, realizes he's just another hunter, and kicks him out of the moving car before flooring it and running him over. So, Crystal and Dawn, who is still somehow alive, find Gary's body in the trunk. Along with Gary, they find a crate of bribe money and a map. It finally clicks. The whole thing is rigged. They aren't surviving through grit. They're being herded like cattle toward a final destination. Crystal decides to share her own twisted version of the tortoise and the hare. In her version, the rabbit doesn't just lose the race and go home to nap. He comes back and murders the turtle. It's a lovely bedtime story that basically says, I'm the rabbit, and everyone is about to have a very bad day. As night falls, we meet the hunters at their base. These aren't elite warriors. They're just mega rich Americans who are so bored they've outsourced their tactical skills to a retired Special Forces vet named Sergeant Dale. That explains why the morning was a slaughter. They literally paid for a coach to help them murder people. One of the hunters wanders into the woods to take a leak, because apparently, even during a human hunt, nature calls. Crystal ambushes him and gives his neck a very permanent piercing with a knife. Back at the base, the others hear footsteps and start spraying bullets at the door like they're in an 80s action flick. They stop firing only to realize they just murdered a pig. While they're arguing over who has the twitchiest trigger finger, Crystal pulls a nothing personal kid and appears right behind them, wiping out every man in the room. One woman tries to be Robin Hood with a bow and arrow, but she realizes too late that a long-range weapon is useless in a cramped living room. Crystal stabs her with her own arrow. As Crystal moves in to finish her, Dawn, remember him, suddenly finds his conscience and asks for mercy because she's just a woman. Crystal, who has no time for 1950s chivalry during a death match, ignores him and gives the lady a one-way ticket to the afterlife. Then, the lead hunter, Athena's voice crackles over the radio, asking Dawn if he's killed Crystal yet. Busted. Dawn wasn't a lucky survivor. He was a plant the whole time. He raises his gun for a standoff, but Crystal doesn't do the whole dramatic monologue thing. She just shoots him. She then interrogates a dying Sergeant Dale and drops a truth bomb. She served in Afghanistan. That explains why she's been treating these rich amateurs like a Sunday morning chore. After getting Athena's location, she finishes the sergeant too. Now we get the why. It turns out Athena and her friends joked in a group chat about hunting deplorables. The chat leaked, the internet did its thing, and their lives were ruined. So naturally, instead of a public apology or moving to a private island, they decided to actually kidnap the people they blamed for the leak and murder them. High-level logic there. But here's the kicker. When Crystal and Athena finally face off in a fancy kitchen, we find out Athena is as bad at Google as she is at hunting. She kidnapped the wrong Crystal. Our Crystal just happens to have a similar name and lives in the same town. She wasn't even supposed to be part of this justice mission. The final showdown is less John Wick and more Kitchen Nightmares Extreme Edition. They smash each other with everything in sight. Crystal throws a bottle of red wine, and Athena actually pauses the fight to save the expensive bottle. Priorities, right? They fight from the second floor back down to the first, lose their guns, and start a brutal hand-to-hand brawl. Athena gets sneaky and stabs Crystal with a blender blade and an ice pick. It looks like game over, but Crystal is built different. She pulls the blade out of her own stomach and drives it into Athena's organs. As Athena lies there, gut-shot and dying, she still asks if she got the right person. Crystal says no one last time, leaving Athena to die in a puddle of bitter regret and expensive flooring. Crystal spots a rabbit, very symbolic, we get it, patches her own gut wound with the sheer power of spite, puts on Athena's designer clothes, steals her dog, and boards a private jet. She's leaving the country in style, proving that if you're going to hunt humans for fun, you should at least make sure you have the right LinkedIn profile first. And that wraps up another chaotic journey into the world of storytelling. If you enjoyed watching these characters make questionable life choices as much as I enjoyed talking about them, you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join the Chronicler Recap family. Why? Because life is already serious enough. You deserve a place where you can get the full story without the boring bits and with a healthy dose of humor instead. We're constantly dropping new recaps that keep the laughs coming and the plot moving, so don't miss out on the next one. But for now, whether the sun is just coming up or you're winding down for the evening, enjoy the rest of your day or night. Stay awesome, and I'll catch you in the next recap.